It's very interesting technology and the impact, and I don't know if everybody's aware of this, but New York City has really changed a lot in terms of its position in the world of new technology. And in fact, there's been a couple of reports published. That's what we're going to talk to Victor. He doesn't know necessarily about the reports, but he's an entrepreneur. And the one report was issued by the Center for an Urban Future, and it talked about the new tech city. This was earlier this year, and they had a bunch of findings. They actually said that in the past few years, there's been an explosion of tech startups in New York City, most of which are companies that leverage the internet and mobile. They identified 486 digital startups in the city that started since 2007. You could probably add another 300 to that since the study was done. They identified well over a dozen, and that's actually more than 24 now, established tech startups that have moved to New York in recent years from San Francisco, Boston, and other locations. And although it is still behind Silicon Valley as a tech hub, New York City has the nation's fastest growing tech sector and has surpassed Boston as the #2 tech center in the U.S. Can you imagine? We're #2 now after Silicon Valley. So they had and the other very interesting note, ladies and gentlemen, is of the 7 leading technology regions in the United States, New York City was the only one to see an increase in the number of VC deals. VC deals means venture capital deals, money. And that according to the data from PricewaterhouseCoopers, etc., deals shot up by 32% in New York City during this time period from 2007 to 2011, where other regions, including Silicon Valley, went down 10%, New England went down 14%, LA Orange County went down 8%. And the city's tech center has created thousands of jobs for people like us who live in New York City, giving us a much-needed boost. And today's tech startups are much less about building new technology than applying technology to traditional industries like advertising, media, fashion, finance, and healthcare. And there was a very interesting thing that's called incubators. I know what an incubator was. I mean, when I grew up, incubator was where you put the eggs of the chicken before they hatch. But there are these things called incubators where little companies start. And there were more than 12 incubators and co-working spaces that house digital startups today, up from a few years prior. So I don't know if everyone knows this, but the startups that have received the most funding since 2007 are the Gilt Group. I don't know if you know Gilt, but if you buy fashion items, you should know them. Tumblr, that's a New York company. ZocDoc is New York. Buddy Media is New York. Foursquare is New York. Amazing, ladies and gentlemen. So I thought we would ask and find someone in an incubator to talk a little bit about what it means to start up one of these startups and what it's all about. And we found Victor Wang. So Victor, welcome to our show.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you for joining us. So tell us a little bit about your company. Who are you, first of all?
Yeah, so I'm Victor. It's really interesting how you mentioned all that, because actually, like, all of that is totally applicable to my company, GeriJoy. So we're from MIT, from Boston actually, and we moved here because apparently New York has surpassed Boston in terms of the startup scene. And actually, it's interesting you mentioned ZocDoc as well, because he's one of the mentors at the incubator that we're part of.
So what is an incubator?
So it's basically, we're part of Blueprint Health, so it's a co-working space where we have a bunch of different startup companies there all working in healthcare tech, and we all share ideas. They provide some amount of seed capital to get us going. And also, the most important thing, though, is their mentorship network. So they have, I think, well over 100 mentors who are kind of leaders in the healthcare industry and in the startup world. And they come and they meet with us. And people try to spend like 6 months to get a meeting with one of these people, but they just come by to Blueprint to meet with us.
Oh, that's excellent.
So it's really great to have that kind of network.
So when you're in the incubator, do you hatch? Do you like come out at some point? Is that the idea? How does it work?
Yeah.
So you came from Boston. Well, tell us a little about yourself, quickly, your background and where you're from.
Yeah,
so we can understand how you came to where you are.
So, well, basically, I'm born in Taiwan, and my parents brought my brother and I to Canada at a very young age. And so I grew up there, did my bachelor's in engineering and stuff, and ended up at MIT, where I finished my master's in human-machine interaction, and then I started this company with my co-founder Shuo, who's also at MIT right now. And so that's actually kind of the inspiration behind the company as well, because we had to leave our grandparents behind.
In Taiwan?
Right, and so one of my grandmothers, she lives as part of a very large family, and so she's always surrounded by family. Whenever we call her up, she's really happy and enthusiastic. But my other grandmother is living alone, and so she's depressed, and sometimes she actually talks about suicide, and so that's not good. But it actually turns out this is a huge problem, not just for our family, but in America as well, all across America. So that's the problem that we're solving with GeriJoy. We're bringing joy to geriatrics.
Okay, who are by themselves.
Right. So essentially, what we do is we've created talking dogs for lonely seniors.
What?
Talking dogs.
Yeah. Talking dogs. Oh, yeah, talking dogs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So.
Oh, all right.
That's not a joke. So.
I think I got a picture of it here somewhere. So.
Yeah.
So you applied your knowledge of mechanical engineering to come up with a talking dog?
Yeah, I mean, it's software mostly. My background's in robotics. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then my co-founder is in the computer science and artificial intelligence lab at MIT. So it's basically applying our skills to.
So this is the picture of the talking dog?
Yeah, yeah. So he talks and you pet him and he shows photos from the internet about whatever you're interested in or for family members. So like, you know, this is like a photo straight from Google image search. If the person's into flowers, for example, or it could be family photos from the latest vacation.
Okay, so you give this to a person, an older person,
right? And
then they interact with an iPad basically that's got like a dog that moves. It's kind of feels good about them,
and so actually, just in that, even without the talking, there's proven therapeutic benefits. It's called pet therapy, right? So, for example, in nursing homes, they bring in live dogs, for example, and people pet them. These old people, and they benefit a lot emotionally, and it helps to combat dementia by improving emotional health. So that's what we're achieving, even for people who aren't capable of taking care of a live animal anymore.
Got it. So what is this we're looking at now, actually?
Basically,
let me get the audio then. Hold on, we'll get the audio. Sorry.
Okay.
We'll do that. Hold on, dude. Come back here.
So, but this is our talking dog buddy and one of our users.
I got you scratching now. How is it feeling?
That's good.
How's that feel?
Oh, you're so good. You're the best scratcher ever.
Oh, you're only saying that.
I love you to Timmy.
I love you too, buddy. The kitty is so beautiful. You make me so happy.
Yeah, so
wow, well, that's certainly an endorsement.
So yeah, I mean, it's a feel-good business too, right? We're basically making people happy, but there's extreme kind of besides just making people happy, there's huge healthcare costs that we're able to save because by improving emotional health, we're able to prevent the onset of dementia, which has increases the cost of care for these elderly people.
So how does it work? You came to the incubator, you got the iPad to work, which apparently is connected somewhere so that you can give images and different kind of information to the person, or is it just got like a static reel that it goes through?
Nope, so actually the PET is, we harness we have a special engine that basically combines artificial.
What's an engine?
Basically like the brains behind Buddy. The brains behind Buddy, it's kind of like a combination between artificial intelligence and actual human intelligence in the back. So we have special staff that are trained in order to provide conversational intelligence. So it's a very sophisticated system, right? And so my co-founder, Shuo, is an expert in mobile systems and networks. And so that's what she's working on. But the effect that we present to the user, to the elderly person, is just the talking dog on the screen, which is truly intelligent and compassionate and can really carry on conversations. Like, for example, if the old person isn't feeling so well, he can show a picture of the person's son and be like, "Hey,
how does he know
Bob
that the old
really
person
misses you?"
How does he know the old person isn't feeling well? Just show him the picture.
There's a camera and video on the tablet actually.
Oh,
so
it's transmitting back to the person who's managing the conversation.
Yeah. And so, for all intents and purposes, to the user, this is literally an intelligent and compassionate talking dog that happens to live inside a picture frame, basically.
Okay, so let's look at some results because I think I've got some of those here. I want to try and get that up on the screen too. So there's the talking dog. Does he have a name, this guy?
We call him Buddy.
Buddy,
yeah.
Okay. Okay, so here's a chart. What does this mean, this chart?
So this is from the PAD, or pleasure arousal dominance test. So that's a standard test that's used in psychological testing. And so we did this on a user of Buddy who kept him for a few days, and we were able to determine that when interacting with Buddy, his level of pleasure increased, his arousal levels increase. So you can see this was a very low arousal person. He would sleep away most of the day. But when interacting with Buddy, his arousal levels did increase. And his dominance levels decreased a lot. So this is very useful for, so this was a dementia care patient as well. So this is very good for example, Alzheimer's patients in senior care facilities that tend to kind of act up or be aggressive due to their dementia. And so we're able to kind of calm them down a little bit.
Oh, excellent.
While actually, it's like a positive type of excitement.
Sure.
Right? So, yeah, I mean, I won't go too much into the
No,
details,
that's
but basically
okay.
these are all positive emotional effects.
Yeah,
from-
it sounds a little bit like feedback too, you know, biorhythmic feedback that it sort of, you know, sustains itself
Sure,
once
yeah.
it gets going. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially like how in your wildest imaginations you might imagine if you had a talking dog,
Yeah.
what that relationship would be like. And so this person actually described it as being a father to a son type relationship.
Excellent.
Yeah.
What is this guy about? Positive
So this
and
is
negative
yeah.
affect
So this is the
schedule.
PAN-ASS test. So affect in this case means emotions. So that's another standard psychological test that researchers use, and we're able to determine that we're able to increase positive emotions while decreasing negative emotions when interacting with Buddy.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, besides just seeing in the video that obviously we can create a very positive interaction, we're able to measure this using standard psychological instruments. So leading medical experts in the field are really excited about our potential for combating dementia and reducing the use of psychiatric medications, which are not only really expensive, but also increase risk for death, increase risk for falls, and decrease cognitive function in people who take these medications in order to treat their dementia or to treat their depression.
Wow. So it sounds very that you have arrived in this journey where you've come from because you had a passion and a need to fulfill something that your family kind of instilled in you.
Yeah.
And then you went to school and you learned how to put things together with your master's at MIT, and then you found a colleague and you guys came up with this thing. I'm sure she or he has a shared interest too somewhere back there.
Yeah.
And then how did you wind up in New York City in an incubator space with some money from some people? How do
Yeah.
other people who have ideas like yours, how do they make it happen?
Yeah, I mean, you just got to start, right? So that's the main thing, actually. I don't mean to kid, but really, if you have an idea and you want to pursue it, you, as a company, for example, you just start and you tell all your friends, hey, I just quit my job. I'm doing this company now. It's called GeriJoy. We improve life, improve mental health and quality of life for seniors, and help to connect family. And this is what we do. And then you can't back out on it.
Of course.
Because you've told all your friends.
That's very good advice.
Yeah. So.
But how do you get into the incubator technology scene?
Yeah, I mean, like, you just apply. I mean, that's the thing,
Oh,
right?
so you just apply. You fill in forms.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Okay.
once you decide to get started, there's infinite opportunities out there. I mean,
Okay.
Blueprint has a website. If you guys are interested in doing a healthcare technology-related startup, just go to Blueprint. I think it's blueprinthealth.org, or you could just Google it up and just apply. They have another class coming up, I think starting January. I think.
Excellent.
Yeah, there's other accelerators out there. You just apply. You just got to get started and do
So you have to go find them. Okay.
Yeah.
And so where do you go? So now have you tested this, and is it working? And so you've done the incubation, and what's, like I said,
Yeah.
when do you hatch? What happens next?
I mean, we're always in the process of hatching. So right now, we've kind of demonstrated our emotional improvements that we're able to achieve, and our next step is to scale up our platform and to be able to make this available to a lot more people. And so we're actually raising funding for that. So we're getting investors, and we already have quite a bit raised already from a number of angel investors, including Esther Dyson, who's, I don't know if you've heard of her, but she's a very famous angel investor. She invested, for example, in Flickr and Delicious.
Wow.
And so,
Excellent.
So yeah, and so we're raising capital in order to be able to scale up our platform, and then we're doing this with senior care facilities to ensure that we're doing this under kind of the most strict kind of conditions with the most needy type of people to make sure that it's really able to have the maximum impact for you when we launch for consumers in the holiday season of 2012. So,
do you have any pushback from people who say, you know, you're just putting a machine in my old person's room? It's very, to a user, to a listener or a viewer, it may sound very cold in a way.
Yeah, so
I mean, it's like
yeah.
robotics. It's the beginning of robotics.
Yeah, I mean,
isn't
we don't really say kind of these words like machine, robotics, or anything, because really what it comes down to is it's a really cute, compassionate, chatty, little intelligent dog that is able to keep mom or dad or grandpa company 24/7, and that's all it is. You don't need any technical skills. You download our app onto the tablet. You put it on a stand, on the nightstand, for example, and just plug it in, and it just runs 24/7. You don't need any technical skills at all. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, there might be some pushback from people who don't really understand what we're doing, but the whole point of this is that we're creating something that's really organic, and.
But I guess just from a culture point of view, some older generation may prefer. You know, they're going to compare a real dog versus the pretend dog.
Yeah.
You know, there's still people in the world who do that. Now, to me, it's just a step. You know, it's not quite the real dog, but that comes with so many complications. This is all the goodness of the real dog without all the problems.
Yeah, in fact, I mean, which real dog do you know of can show you a picture from, you know, your son's last vacation and be like, hey, your son wanted me to show you this. Hey, he wanted you to know he's doing really well. What was he like when he was a kid? And carry on a conversation like that and provide that kind of feedback and conversational support 24/7. You know, there's no pet that can do
Got it. Yes. Is there a way for family to connect in?
Oh yeah. So that's why I've been referring to like family photos. So Buddy is internet connected. It's almost as if this pet is psychically connected to the internet. So literally, the family member, the younger family member, can just send an email to Buddy's email account, and then Buddy gets that email and he can deliver the message almost like Lassie or something like that.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah. Except instead of Lassie being like carrying this like piece of paper in his mouth, this is. You can only just read out the message, whether if it's text, like Buddy can just say the message, right? Read it out. Or if it's a photo, he can like show you the photo, like you see he's showing the flowers in that picture.
Excellent.
And so that's the part about connecting families. So in between these visits, which might be pretty infrequent, we can really help to further that family relationship.
Well, Victor, I want to thank you. The time flies so quickly here, and I guess if anyone wants to invest, they should go to GeriJoy.com and
or if you just want to like pre-order for when we launch for consumers.
Okay.
We're gonna set that up soon, but feel free to drop us a line on Twitter.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So there you go.